Welcome to one more game presented by Hoosier Pickleball. I am your host, Matt Brandenberger, alongside my, I'm out. I'm 30-some episodes in, I don't have any more.
No more words.
I have no more adjectives
I
to
can
describe
just be
you.
your wife.
My wife. My wife.
That is acceptable.
This is Abigail Noel Brandenberger. And we are just excited about another episode. We have had kind of a break. It feels like it's been a while since we've done this, because last week we had Casey Iyett on, had some really good feedback from that episode. Some pretty cool messages on Facebook, just encouraging Casey and some friends of his out in Utah that had listened. So
I always just love that when people think when they share their story they're gonna get judgment. Not even realizing that like everybody has done stuff and had stuff and has stuff. So
I loved his vulnerability.
I think
and
that was awesome.
It was a good episode. So shout out to Casey again. We were really excited to do that. And it was kind of a long time coming. We had talked about it. We'd actually recorded once and had some issues with audio, and went back and did it again. And it was just a good conversation. He's just such a good dude. I hope we get to run into him again sometime soon. So some updates. Life still is crazy.
Oh my goodness.
I every week I think, it can't get much crazier.
And then it does.
And then it does. Your back is better.
So good.
Which is
like 90.
Like seriously,
6%.
praise the Lord, because like I still remember that phone call. I really thought you were going to be telling me.
It's done for a while. But sitting on the bleachers the other night at 3 hours of volleyball, so it's still like just some pain into my left leg. So like my left hamstring was really tight that night after sitting in bleachers for 3 hours. So that's fine.
And I say this all the time. You're so good at rehab because you really work hard and you're doing the right things to take care of yourself. So hopefully that continues. Yeah,
but what was funny is I got videos from people of Vivian David backing out of a PPA event in Texas.
Yeah.
Because she was coughing.
Yeah, not due to her back or a hamstring.
She blew her ribs out or something.
So your cough is better. So far, we're like a minute and a half into this episode.
And I have not coughed yet.
You've not coughed yet. But it's kind of psychosomatic though, right? So as soon as we say that,
I will start coughing.
You're going to start coughing. So we won't talk about it. We'll move on. So this episode is probably, we say this a lot and then it's not, but it's probably going to be pretty short because we don't have a ton to cover. Don't say that. Okay. Don't jinx it. No. Don't say it. But we don't have a ton to cover. But there were a couple things that we thought would be fun. And we did call. We said our dogs are going to start barking. Yes. They never bark.
They don't bark until we're recording.
Yeah, so annoying. If it gets bad, we'll take a quick time out.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk about paddle tapping because that was a controversy that kind of blew up. And then we're going to get into talking about pickleball elbow, and you're going to kind of explain kind of your PT side of things. You're going to kind of explain to us what that is and maybe how you can prevent it and some things like that. But let's start with paddle tapping. This is kind of silly to me. I'll be honest. I didn't engage. It kind of, on our local thread that we have a ton of people, it kind of like blew up, and it started with Riley Newman. Announced kind of on social media that he was done playing, or he was done tapping paddles between games. Yeah. So not at the end of the match. He wasn't saying like, I'm not tapping my paddle at all, but he was saying between games, he was not going to tap paddles.
Which really seems fair.
Yeah. I mean, his argument, and I totally agree with it, is what other sport midway through the game do you go and like shake your opponent's hand and be like, hey, good job.
You don't do it in volleyball.
It's halftime. You don't do it in volleyball.
You don't do it in tennis.
You don't do it in tennis. So it's kind of an odd thing. I
think it's fine, yeah.
But the other side of it is it kind of shows just the fun atmosphere of pickleball. It's not a super competitive game. It's more social.
Yeah. But the pros can do that if they want to.
And that's a good point. And so now that it's becoming more of a global game and it's getting more serious and there's big money involved and high competition. Yeah. I can understand Riley saying like,
sure,
I'll tap your paddle at the end,
but
we don't need to go through this every time we switch ends or whatever. So,
and I said if I can't tap your paddle, I'm gonna tap your butt.
Okay, and I said I'm all in.
Right. So just so you know,
I'll just stick my butt out and you can tap it.
I think for people who don't want to tap paddles, I think a great option is to stick your hand out and high five the paddle. What do you think?
You did that kind of awkwardly, though.
Sorry. That was left-handed.
That was a left-handed high five. You can only high five with your right hand. Yeah, I think or I've seen people like stick the handle of their paddle out. Because part of, like, some people were saying, like, I'm playing with a $200 plus paddle. I don't want somebody like wrecking my paddle. Which I've
never hit your paddle that hard.
If you're playing against people who can't gently tap your paddle, but I guess maybe that's a risk you're not willing to take. Yeah, they'll awkwardly. So I don't know. That's kind of silly to me, but to each their own. And if that's not something you want to do, then I guess it's fine. Yeah. Don't stick your paddle out there. Yeah. But I kind of compared it also to like the post-game handshake that coaches do. Like football coaches will meet at midfield and kind of shake each other's hand. I can't remember, it's Jim Harbaugh and another coach. Like he came out and gave like a really aggressive handshake one time. And it was
that feels aggressive.
Yeah. And maybe at that point, I don't remember, maybe in the news cycle they talked about banning the handshake.
They probably did.
That was the closest sports equivalent I could come up with.
Yeah, so I mean, that's like, current events in pickleball right now.
Right. Everybody's talking about...
Any other current events you know?
Tapping paddles. Not that I can really...
I mean, I heard Anna Lee Waters is dating an old man. Do we want to get into that?
Man, you're just throwing shade out there.
No. I mean, compared to her.
Okay.
16 and 22. Do we want to talk about current events or no?
I mean...
Let's not.
Okay. I mean, as a father, I have opinions on that. I'm not letting... My oldest daughter right now is 14. And
could she date a 20-year-old right now?
Heck no.
Say, watch your
I almost said our first swear word on the pod. Absolutely not. And when she's 16, she's not dating.
Right. I don't know that. Yeah. Is that true though?
I have no idea.
I don't know. We're not really good at keeping up with gossip, to be very fair.
Right. And let's not start.
Okay. Let's not.
30 some episodes in. Let's not turn into a gossip podcast.
Good.
But
sounds good.
There you go.
Yeah. So we're gonna take our first commercial break here.
Let's do it. Commercial break, and then we'll come back and we will talk about the old pickleball elbow.
We're going to deep dive.
All right. We'll be right back.
Parents, your teen driver or soon-to-be driver looks to you for guidance on safe driving techniques.
Drive Alive is an organization dedicated to young driver safety. Visit our website at drivealiveindiana.org to view videos designed to facilitate conversations between parents and their teen drivers.
Topics include getting to know your vehicle, understanding car insurance, simple car maintenance, and what to do if you just had an accident.
Visit drivealiveindiana.org to learn more. Welcome back to One More Game, presented by Who's Your Pickleball. During the break, I think we solved all the problems of the world, at least with our dogs. So we have 2 dogs. I don't know how much we've talked about our dogs in the pod before, but why we have 2 dogs? Wow. And I don't think I've ever seen our dogs doing this right now. We're going to have to take another commercial break. No, we're going to power through. Hey, enough. Yikes. Seriously, of all times, has Tiger ever done that before? Oh my goodness.
That was hysterical.
So we have 2 dogs.
And they're both girls.
They're both girls, but Tiger just channeled his inner boy. But anyways, I don't know how I got suckered into getting 2 dogs. Abby always wanted 2 dogs.
I want like 7.
Yeah. And, the challenges of having them can be...
awesome.
Yeah. You don't want to talk about the dogs anymore?
No.
You still disturbed from what you just saw? Yeah. All right, so let's talk.
We're talking about pickleball elbow.
Yeah. So why you feel like you've seen a lot of people talking recently about pickleball?
Yeah. All of a sudden, now listen, you always see it on. I mean, when you're scrolling Facebook, don't you always see somebody talking about it? But I feel like I'm seeing it more and more. But what's cracking me up is like if you have something, do you go to Facebook? If you're like, my elbow hurts. Is Facebook where you turn?
I don't know. It's not for me. Maybe
it's just not. It's not the place, guys. It's not the place.
Okay. I'm not sure if I agree with you.
Okay.
It's a good place to go to get.
Okay. So
advice.
what would? Okay. So what?
Maybe some good advice, some bad. Is that where you're going?
Right. What would you do if, in all of the advice, because there's usually 159 comments.
Right.
Get a lighter paddle.
Yeah.
Get a heavier paddle.
Right.
You need a bigger grip. Well, I got a smaller grip.
Right.
well, you need a Pro Kinetics.
Yeah.
Pro Kinetics gave me pickleball elbow. Like, that's what you get out of Facebook, which it just makes, I read the comments every time, and it cracks me up every time. Like, my view on pain, which I actually have an episode that I'd like to talk about, is probably different from other people's view on pain.
Mm-hmm. Is your view on pain, suck it up, buttercup? I feel like that can be, there's your short episode you're going for. Abby's view on pain, suck it up.
That was it.
Yeah. Okay.
No, it's like everybody is different, and everybody's going to have something that they think works. And you know what? Maybe it did. My view on pain is more like, unless it's an acute injury, I sprained my ankle, I broke my face, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Typically, we're in a pain cycle, and there are things we can do to get out of them. But if somebody was like, this did this, I just don't think that that's probably true. They got out of that pain cycle at that time, and it was probably a coincidence.
But you know, to play devil's advocate, I think the other side of that is, you know, maybe you have been playing with a heavier paddle and you try a lighter paddle and that works for you.
Yeah.
Or maybe vice versa. Yeah. So, I mean, it is, you know, you're right in that you're going to get 150 different opinions with 150 different comments, and you're probably going to find, you know, the exact opposite in the next post. But but it can at least give you some ideas maybe that you hadn't thought about before.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that. There are things that there are things that can work. But I will say...
So let me actually start. Yeah. So we're talking specifically not just about... We're going to do a whole nother episode on the pain cycle. Yeah. Or pain management. Pain in general. Yep. But, you know, we call it pickleball elbow because we're pickleball players. Yes. Is it the same as tennis elbow?
It is.
Okay.
Thank you for asking.
And then what is...
It is not golfer's elbow.
It's the opposite of golfer's elbow.
Yes.
Because we've got like a different ligament.
Yes.
Okay.
So... Pickleball / tennis elbow is your wrist extensors. So it's this outside. Okay. Golfer's elbow, which ironically I have.
Weird.
I know.
You're not a golfer.
Is on this inside. These are your wrist flexors. Excuse me. So I got my golfer's elbow, if you will, from moving back in 2019. And it has never gone away. Which is...
Should I tell you to suck it up, buttercup?
Have I been for 4 years?
Complaining? No, I haven't heard you really talk. Maybe a couple times.
So, I mean, you can get it from anything. You can get it from just, you know, using a screwdriver for too long. All of a sudden, you have lateral epicondylitis. Yeah. That's pickleball elbow. So, it's inflammation in the tendons in your wrist extensors. So, if you bring your hand back towards your arm, those are your wrist extensors, and it's that part in your elbow that you can feel activate. So... And
it is painful. Like
I've had it. Yeah. It really hurts.
Yeah.
It really hurts.
So you get it. What can you do about it?
Yeah. Actually, what I'm going to tell you is you not only will it help you recover, but it will prevent future pickleball elbow.
So exercises like that are like win-wins, right?
Yeah. It is killing two birds with one stone.
I like that. I like killing birds.
Okay. Okay. So the first thing you want to do when you have elbow pain is you have to always look at the joints around it. So shoulder strengthening. It's surprisingly, you know, if you have an unstable shoulder, your elbow can accommodate for that and you can get elbow pain. So we talk about the Throwers 10, and I will link that in the show notes. That's on YouTube. It's these 10 band exercises. Now those are all well and good, but we always recommend progressing to what's called closed chain, push-ups and planks. Okay. We've talked about that. I mean, we've talked about some of this before in our injury prevention episode, but I wanted to get specific into pickleball elbow. Yeah. So all of you should be doing planks and side planks. You don't have to do push-ups. I don't love push-ups personally.
Because they can be a little...
I don't know.
Rough on the shoulder.
I just don't like them. Yeah. But, you know, if nothing...
I don't like most exercises.
It's true. But planks are going to be good for shoulders and core and glutes and quads. I mean, normal planks and side planks. You should be doing that anyway. So not only will that help cure pickleball elbow, or at least, you know, help the pain and keep you strong while you're in the pain, it could also prevent it in the future.
Nice. I like it. And you're going to link that in the show notes.
I will link Throwers 10 in the show notes, and then...
And where do you get a band like that? Can you even just use like a towel? I mean,
no,
you need to have some
You can get bands from Amazon. I can link those. I have a bunch just from work. You can go anywhere and get bands. They're pretty easy.
Cool.
Okay, so the next thing to do is eccentric contractions. We actually talked about that also in the injury prevention episode. And eccentric contractions of the wrist extensors, okay? And so those contractions strengthen the ends of your muscles into your tendons, okay? An eccentric contraction that is resisting the pull of gravity.
Yeah.
So going down slowly. Does that make sense? I can link eccentric contractions or exercises in the show notes, but you can use that for any tendinopathy. Yeah. Patellar tendonitis, Achilles, biceps, medial and lateral epicondylitis, so golfers and pickleball elbow. Yeah. So you can use this for any tendon issue you may have is eccentric. Even plantar fasciitis actually is really helpful too. Really? Like a big toe. It's so interesting. So that's really good. I actually do these like when I'm sitting and reading. They're not really hard to do. So my encouragement is you should be doing those anyways on the arm that you hold your paddle in. Okay. I mean, do the other arm too.
Yeah, but especially the one that you're swinging around and moving with makes sense.
Yeah. And then stretching. You should, these are always, it's always good to, keep this stretched out. Stretching your wrist flexors and extensors, and then a hammer rotation. Holding a hammer, I don't hold a hammer, I hold a dumbbell. I'm just rotating here. It still gets to the rotators. Yeah. And that's good to stretch those out. And it's a little bit strengthening too.
So why is it when you're doing it with a weight or you're doing it in a controlled manner that it's strengthening it and helping it, but when I'm playing pickleball, why isn't that strengthening? Why is that being hard on her?
Well, because I mean, everybody has different body mechanics, and I can't look at your, like, how you're moving your wrist and your elbow, and I can't tell you why you're probably having a little bit of tendinopathy. Is it because you're a little too wristy? I personally think I'm a little too wristy. Well, I think that as people's bodies are just different, you can get stronger to accommodate for that instead of having to change everything. Yeah. Like you don't have to move perfectly to be pain-free. Yeah. Your body can move weird and still be okay. Yeah. So let's strengthen what you're doing. Right. To allow your body to do that. Yeah. If that makes sense. Does that make sense?
I think so. Yeah. I wonder also, is it have to do with the amount? When you're doing an exercise like that, you're kind of doing it in a controlled way, and you're doing a set amount, opposed to you go out and play pickleball for 3 hours.
Right.
You might really be
you're hitting one ball soft, you're hitting one ball as hard as you can, you reach for a ball weird, and then you feel a shot of pain. You're like, I don't know what I just did there. Right. So okay. Yeah. I
got a couple more questions on this. Let's take a quick commercial break. We'll come back, we'll wrap up this conversation and wrap up the show. Yeah. So we will be right back.
Between the two of us, we've had 7 orthopedic surgeries, 4 cortisone injections, and countless injuries that have required physical therapy, and we are only in our early 40s. So where do we go when we need physical therapy? Indiana Physical Therapy.
That's right, Abby. With 22 locations in Fort Wayne and the surrounding counties, Indiana Physical Therapy will be there to get you back to work, play, and life. Visit IndianaPT.com for more information. Welcome back to one more game presented by Hoosier Pickleball. So we're talking a little bit about pickleball elbow today. It's the same as tennis elbow, but we're not tennis players. We're pickleball players, so it's pickleball elbow. We're taking over the world. So why do you think, you said you've seen this a lot more on Facebook, do you feel like it's becoming more prevalent? Is there like an epidemic of pickleball elbow?
Well,
is it just because more people are playing pickleball now?
I think so. Okay. I think that as more people are playing more and more, we're just going to see lots and lots of injuries. Yeah. And that's okay, because that's any sport. Yeah. I mean,
is it also, you use the word wristy, and the more wristy you are, maybe the more that sets that up. The game evolving a little bit more and becoming maybe a bit more of a speed game, and trying to hit those, top spin shots, backspin shots, getting more wrist involved. Is that all going to kind of do it too?
I think so too. And I, as I mentioned, I think I'm probably too wristy, but at this point I don't even know how I would change that. And so I don't want to go to somebody who may be a little too wristy and say, well, you've got to change the entire style of play. I'd rather help them strengthen and stretch for where they are. Right. So that they can
Yeah, I mean, is it just one of those things that is just a necessary part of it, and you might have to just kind of deal with it? Because for me, I would say I want to get more wristy because you can only generate so much topspin on the ball with your mechanics of your swing to kind of get almost like, I would almost call it like the table tennis level of spin. You've got to be able to, generate spin with your wrist.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think even if somebody has perfect, body control and mechanics, they can still get pain somewhere. Right. I think that's just life. That's the human experience. Yeah. And so my encouragement is always, if you can stay strong and flexible through what I think oftentimes is just a pain cycle. Yeah. And listen, maybe your pain cycle is 2 or 3 years. Ugh. But you know me, you play through it. Like, I personally, unless it's like something we would call sinister pain, which is like severe, broken, ER type pain, I would say keep moving, keep playing, as long as you can stay strong and flexible through that pain, it will go away. Right. Or it will get to a point where it's manageable and it's fine. Like, kind of like I'm on year 4 of what I would call golfer's elbow. It's annoying sometimes. Right. But it's fine. Yeah. I mean.
And don't be afraid to go see it. I mean, I kind of felt like I was in that cycle for a while with my knee.
Yeah, you did.
And then I went and had it scoped, and that's helped a ton.
Absolutely. So don't hear me as like you should never go to a doctor. There's always a place for that. But, I guess I just want to encourage people to, like, I had a friend, and I don't know that she listens to our podcast, but she was having
and she's a friend?
I know, right? Yeah. She was having sciatic pain. She's like, I think I'm just going to take a couple weeks off. And I was like, I don't know that you need to do that. Right. Like, here's a couple stretches. Keep playing because you're doing what you love, right? She's like, yeah. She played through it, and then it came out on the other side of her pain cycle. Yeah. Not weaker, not sad, and not less flexible because she had stopped. You know what I'm saying? Right. And she still got to play pickleball. Right. So, if you can that's my biggest thing. If you can stay strong and flexible through your pain cycle, you will come out on the other side quicker and still strong and flexible and not like, crap, now I got all this. Right.
But sometimes you play through it and it doesn't get better. So it's just
absolutely. It's just I'm not one to tell you when to go to the doctor, but I also feel like,
or therapist.
I'm obviously a big advocate of that, but pain is unfortunately part of life, and I think when you stop doing things that you love to do, it can actually be a detriment. Yeah. So that's why I'm a big advocate of playing a lot through the pain.
All right. So we'll talk more about pain in a later episode. Yeah. When you tell everybody to suck it up, and it'll be our quickest one yet. So this wasn't like super short, but it was one of our shorter ones.
Right. So if you have any questions about shoulder flexibility, shoulder strengthening, elbow strengthening, all of that, just, let me know. Write a comment. Comment on YouTube, whatever. I can help to the best of my ability.
Absolutely.
Because I want everybody to continue to play pickleball.
Yeah. We want everybody to play pickleball.
Right. And like I said, everything I mentioned here tonight can also help prevent pickleball elbow. So if you just start implementing some planks and some strengthening.
All right. Let's talk about things we love.
Yeah.
What do you got?
I don't know if I'm just in a space right now, but I couldn't think of anything.
You couldn't think of anything?
No, that's not what I meant.
Jeez.
But I was like, our summer, we've had an entire 2 weeks of summer. Yeah. And we were trying to get, Liv's birth mom and us, we have a little bit of a relationship, and she would like to get together. Mm-hmm. And I looked at our calendar. From morning till night, every day for the next 2 weeks, we have something going on. Morning till night. Yeah. And I was like, I love summer, I think.
Yeah, it's a different routine. Yeah. And I'd rather that than our kids sitting around playing video games or just wasting away. So we stay busy, but trying to coordinate every day is pretty crazy.
And
but
I do love summer. Mm-hmm. But my main job description, I think, in the summer is chauffeur.
Yeah. Yeah, and I try to help as much as I can, but obviously working quite a bit as well. Yeah. And I'm in the middle of a job transition.
I mean, do we need to talk about this?
I don't know.
Have we talked about it?
Have we talked about it? A little bit, but...
You know what? Okay.
I don't want to get way into it.
Okay.
But yeah, so I am transitioning jobs, and so kind of trying to figure all that out has been a challenge. It's been a lot, but
just stay tuned. At some point,
we'll be able to share more. About that.
We're both changing jobs. It's super exciting.
We have talked about you are doing real estate now.
Yeah.
Your life, I'm looking at them right now, is consumed with putting together some promotional materials. We won't even say what those are.
No,
right?
it's
That's
a surprise.
So
marketing myself as a realtor.
Yeah. We had swim meet tonight. It has been crazy. The thing that I love, I got two things actually. So you couldn't really think of anything. I've got so many things that I'm thankful for. Number one is last weekend I was at the Memorial Golf Tournament.
Oh, yeah.
We talked a little bit about golf today, so we'll end with some golf. And it's one of my favorite weeks of the year. Went with some buddies, took some of my kids. Actually saw Steph Curry up close. That was kind of cool.
And weren't the girls like, he's so cute?
Yeah, the girls love Steph. He was at the Pro-Am on Wednesday and then went to the final round. It was an exciting tournament. I just love that course and that whole tournament. It's always fun. So that's one thing I'm so
glad. Here's what I love. I love that you have friends that you take instead of me.
I used to make Abby go with me at least one day and she hated it.
I
don't know how you hate it.
You have such good friends who go now.
It's the most beautiful, scenery. You're outside. It's things that you do like. You like walking around. You just hate golf that much that you can't even be around it. That's sad. That's why we play pickleball together, because I could not get Abby on the golf course. Excuse me. The other thing, you're cough now, I have it, is we are doing our first tournament this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Where we're actually hosting it. It's very small. It's just in our neighborhood. But we have,
awesome.
a decent number of people coming out. Got kind of a fun format we're doing where you don't have a partner. You're getting kind of mixed around with a bunch of people. Trying something kind of new.
Yeah,
So
I think you're doing a great job
we'll
with
give
that.
an update on how that went.
Really
and
fun.
a teaser, we have some exciting news. I think next week we may have a bonus episode. A real short one. I'm talking a 5 to 10 minute one.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I know nothing about this. Are you going to tell me?
I'll tell you.
Okay.
But we have an opportunity, and we're going to maybe do a recording during that. So we'll tell you more about that. But you may see a quick little 5 to 10 minute episode drop sometime later this week even. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
All right. Is that it? What are we at?
Yeah.
I don't even know. The timer, it's hard to tell, but I think we're under 30 minutes, which could be close to a record. I'm sorry if you heard our dogs growling the whole time. I don't know how much the audio will pick up on that. Abby was really good at ignoring it. It was kind of driving me nuts, but I might just be tired and cranky. So, but thanks again for joining us.
I feel like we should give high fives at the end of every episode.
An awkward left-handed high five?
Other hand.
Like they did in MathNet. Remember that? Anybody else a MathNet nerd?
I was.
It was one thing that Abby and I had in common growing up.
Watching
we both loved MathNet.
That's why I'm so good at it.
You needed to watch a lot more MathNet. So, all right. Thank you all. Have a great one. We will see you next time on One More Game. As always, we want to thank our sponsors, Hoosier Pickleball, Indiana Physical Therapy, and Pickleball Rocks. In addition, a big thank you to our production company, Coraggio Media, and the 95.7 WELT studio in beautiful downtown Fort Wayne. Please make sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts or find us on YouTube at One More Game Pod. That's the number 1 More Game Pod. Hit that subscribe button and be sure to leave us a 5-star rating to help us spread the word. You can also find us on Facebook and TikTok at Hoosier Pickleball for all kinds of fun, tips, tricks, and other family nonsense, and also some great discussion. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next week.